Okay, friends, we are live. Rusty with you here. It is CFLW on a day where I think we're going to get to know each other quite well, meaning that it could be a potentially fairly large or time frame stream for us here. Tracking right now a severe thunderstorm that is moving through Citadel and Orange counties. It'll be headed towards the coast, but this is overall just a broad spectrum potential severe weather afternoon and early evening across Central Florida. As a cold front moves through the area, interacting with our sea breeze boundaries, there's a lot of instability in the atmosphere. There's a lot of shear. We have to watch out for the possibility of all modes of severe weather the remainder of the day. The main threats are going to continue to be winds of 60 plus miles an hour, but I can't rule out some inch-size hail and the opportunity for a few isolated tornadoes, hopefully brief and hopefully non-existent, but these storms, as they interact with the sea breeze, are likely to have some rotation with them. So great to see you guys. Again, I've been monitoring this storm for the past hour or so in Orange and Citadel counties. Now, this severe thunderstorm warning does go until 1:30. And let me tell you right now, it's had the history of producing some quarter-sized hail. Right now, we've got the inch-sized hail on the board for you as this continues to move off towards the south and to the east. So next up, as this passes just east of UCF and north and east of Wedgefield and the Bithlo areas, it's going to try and get into the northern sides of Brevard County. So let me give you the details of this severe thunderstorm warning right now. Motion is southeast at 15, 60-mile-an-hour winds, Wedgefield, Bithlo, and Christmas. But again, if they extend this warning and this storm has stayed together the last couple of hours, it will likely be pushed into Brevard County and we'll have a severe thunderstorm warning there. The other thing about this is that as these storms get towards the coastline, again, you have a little bit more rotation inherent in the atmosphere here as the sea breeze boundaries pend along the coast, and the opportunity as this gets into Brevard County coastal areas like the Indian and the Banana Rivers to have a little bit of rotation with them. We've seen a couple of storms also just fire up along the immediate Brevard County coast. Cape Canaveral, this is a special weather statement. This storm is mainly offshore right now, but there'll be a lot of special marine warnings that will continue to be in effect. And obviously along the East Coast, the weather is not extremely great for any boaters out there in small craft. The other situation that I'm going to be monitoring is across our West Coast. This is a all Central Florida day for the opportunity for some strong to severe storms. That's the radar out of the airport. Let me get to the radar here out of Ruskin and show you the storms that are about ready to move on shore. So we have some special marine warnings right now off the coastline of Pasco County and another one a little bit farther away from the coastline of Pinellas counties. That being said, and good afternoon, everyone. I appreciate you tuning in. Yeah, let me know in the comments section below where you're viewing from. Obviously, tell me if you've had any impactful weather. I'm setting the stage here, and then we'll kind of get into the the rest of the details coming up. But I want everyone to be aware of kind of what I've been watching and what we should expect over the next several hours. So when I switch over to the velocity product here out of the Tampa radar, you can clearly see there's some rotation. There's likely a water spout within this storm right now, and it's getting closer to places like Hudson and Newport Richey and the Holiday areas. As a matter of fact, if we go over here, let me bring up my spatial tool. We're now looking at this rotation being about a dozen miles offshore. It's moving off towards the east right now, at around 30, 35 miles an hour. So I'm really monitoring this storm because if that rotation continues, we're going to have to watch portions of Pasco and Pinellas counties for the opportunity for a rotating storm. Again, could they fire up a tornado warning because of that? They could. Same situation here. The rotation is not as prominent with this storm, but it's also not as close to the radar site as well. So this is the situation. As this front has worked its way through and these storms are going to be moving into the area, there's a lot of instability here, guys, and these storms that are out by themselves are also of concern too. Got to watch out for that. Let me switch back over here. All right. Hopefully I'm not drawing anymore. I'm not. I don't know why that cursor's still like that, though. That's interesting. Bring back on. Well, okay. Oh, there we go. No, still the same. Huh, oh, well. Hey, as long as it works, it works. Oh, there it is right there. I was like, there's my spatial tool. If I take that off, that should work, right? Yeah, there we go. All right. It's been a little while since I've used that tool. So this is the bottom line. Now you're going to see in the bottom of your screen the main impacts that I expect for today, right? Any of these storms going to produce some winds of 60 miles an hour, inch-sized hail, again, already quarter-sized hail in Oviedo, and some isolated tornado threats. One or two, potentially, hopefully brief. We're going to have to be monitoring the situation for you guys. Let's talk about the overall threat for today. This is the risk of severe storms from the Storm Prediction Center. All of our area is under that marginal risk, the 1 out of 5 on the scale. So we're not expecting these storms to be extremely widespread, but they're going to be pretty intense wherever they want to get going over the next several hours. When we look at the tornado risk, the tornado risk area is going to mainly be from I-4 east to I-95. I'm not going to discount, though, the rotation of some of the storms, again, along the immediate west coast. The hail threat is also going to be a little bit more expanded west as you get closer to 75. And then the wind threat is going to be the most prominent threat, again, damaging winds of over 60 miles an hour in some spots. But overall, it's a marginal risk of severe storms as we go through the remainder of the day. The storms are going to be moving fast enough where likely we're not going to have a lot of flooding concerns, but if the storms do pile up in one area, they'll be moving faster along the west coast and interior sections, and then they'll slow down as they get towards the east coast. So from St. Augustine, Palm Coast, Daytona Beach, Merritt Island, Palm Bay, these are the areas with the potential for excessive rainfall. That's what you guys are seeing on your screen at this point in time. All right, local storm reports. Again, a couple of those just to pass along to you guys here. So these are going to be hail reports in Lake Mary. At, let's see, 11:27, we had pea to dime sized hail. That's 3/4 of an inch. And then a train spotter out of the Seminole County area here. This is going to be the UCF area. Reports from public and pictures of the media about a inch size hail, in the Oviedo area, which is quarter size. All right, so Oviedo quarter, about 3/4 of an inch as you get up towards other portions of the western sides of Seminole County. So that's the current situation. Good to see you guys as well. Let me know in the comment section below how everyone is doing. Hey, Jared. Hey, Amy. Hey, Blue Goose. I'll believe when we have rain, we see it here in winter. But I hear you. Listen, this is going to be, on the beneficial side, a good opportunity for some good rain in the area. But again, we have to monitor the situation for what's going to be happening across the area when it comes to the severe weather potential. Let's take a look at our live camera network. As you guys know, we have live cameras across Central Florida. Obviously, these are going to help tell the weather story very nicely. So I'll be monitoring these and showing you throughout the entire time. If you look off towards the left-hand side of your screen, that's Elaine Log Cam in Winter Park. On the right-hand side of your screen, that is going to be Winter Garden at the hour, looking west. So we're looking to those really thick clouds coming off of the west coast at this point in time there. We'll go over to our quad box cameras. This includes Sand Lake. This is down in I Drive, top left-hand side of your screen. Just to the left of this camera would be Epic Universe. And then on the bottom right-hand side of your screen, that is Lake Buena Vista. That camera is just 1 mile from the attractions. I mean, obviously, you've got yourself a lot of gloom across the area. One camera that has actually been showing some pretty good pictures of some of the storms is going to be our Conway cam, southeast side of downtown Orlando, looking back off towards the east. This is actually the severe thunderstorm that you see in the distance. It's moving away from this camera, but this camera is looking off towards the east, and obviously the winds are relatively fresh across the area at this point in time. But, you know, this is just one of those afternoons, my friends, where I do expect there to continue to be the opportunity for some strong to severe storms as this front comes in, and especially with the heat of the day. It's pretty gloomy outside. We don't have a lot of heat energy, relatively speaking, to be able to work with for today. If I bring on the current temperatures on the board for you right now, they'll pop up here in just a second. You'll notice that they're not outrageously warm for today because we've had the extra cloud coverage. But in this deep layered sheared environment with the front interacting with the sea breezes, you don't necessarily have to get it up to 90 degrees. Now, the interesting thing is down south, down into portions of Polk and Hillsborough counties. They've been able to push into the upper 80s and right around 90 degrees. So there's more juice down there. So do have to watch out for the areas that have not had the congested overcast conditions for the opportunity to be primed for additional severe storms. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, appreciate you. I think this is going to probably be a pretty long stream for today, so we'll buckle in together. Severe thunderstorm warning continues right now for portions of Orange and Seminole counties. This is the details on that storm, and also slivers into the northwest side of Brevard County. Goes until 1:30. We had a severe thunderstorm located near Christmas, moving southeast at 15. This is going to be a very common issuance from the National Weather Service for today. I think 60 and quarter size hail, and that you see on your screen, 60 mile per hour winds, inch size hail, that's quarter size, is going to be a very common factor for us for today. That kind of hail can produce damage to vehicles, wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees as well. Titusville, Wedgefield, Bithlo, and Christmas. But once this thunderstorm warning expires or gets close to it, as long as it holds together, it is likely to be thrown up for portions of Brevard County, deeper into Brevard County. That includes Indian River City, Port St. John, Sharps, and the Cocoa areas for you guys as well. So Pat asks, is moving into Tampa? So yes, absolutely. It is going to be a day where we are going to continue to see some stronger storms across the area. What has happened, my friends, is that we've had a couple of rogue storms develop out ahead of the main line. Okay, and these are always hairy because they're kind of in their own environment. These are the ones that can spin up and produce some tornadoes. So as this has been moving across Central Florida, I've been monitoring it. There's likely to be a little bit more rotation with the storm as it gets into Brevard County. So that particular cell, because it's been together for about 2 hours, certainly bears watching. The storms that are moving across the west coast right now, anywhere from the Nature Coast back into Pasco and Pinellas counties, bear watching as well. Again, these special marine warnings, are what they issue when a storm is offshore. There's no delineation, there's no tornado warning, there's no severe thunderstorm warning, there's special marine warnings. Now, they will discuss what they expect out of this storm. So if I bring on the actual special marine warning, they're just going to be mentioning here that, let's see here if we find the storm, water spouts, winds to 40, and large hail. So as this storm tries to move on shore, and we'll be monitoring live, this will likely turn into a severe thunderstorm warning or potentially even a tornado warning if that rotation continues. So if you do live along that coastline, if you look offshore, you're probably going to see some dark, low clouds across the area. I do want to take a quick minute here, my friends. Give me just 1 second. Thought I had it all set up, but now I do. I do want to thank the Lean Law Firm for being one of the sponsors of CFLW. They offer free consultation and policy review. So if you'd like to check them out by going to leanonmelaw.com, they'll walk you through the insurance claim process. They're doing a lot of things, so give Bobby a call, 407-502-0053. We appreciate Lean Law being one of the sponsors of the channel and one that has been with us for a while. If you are interested in sponsoring the channel or a camera as well, discuss it with us, cflwlive@gmail.com. But we appreciate Lean Law being one of the sponsors of the channel. All right, let me get on over to the chat while we have a little bit of time here. Again, this is a situation today where we might have lulls in the activity. Right? We may have 1 or 2 severe thunderstorms at a time. And then there might be other times where it's just going pretty wild. All right. So I thought this was just a great time to jump on, cover it with you guys live, give you the situation. Now let's be clear about this. If you have plans the remainder of this Tuesday outdoors or you have to travel, the weather is going to be a factor in this. At this point in time in the Orlando metro area, there's a little bit of a quiet, but as we get towards picking up the kids from school, the weather could begin to be moving in. Now, along the West Coast, it's already that situation, right? So it's already wet. We have some good embedded thunderstorm activity with this, and so it's not going to be a very smooth getting the kids home from school for today, and obviously the commute home could be an issue as well with some extremely heavy rainfall and already wet roads out there. Lean Law does rock indeed. Hey Kish, how are you? Hi Diane. Gloomy in Intercession City. What's going on in Titusville? Great question. Again, Titusville is right on the edge of this severe thunderstorm warning. Now, this is a nice solid hail core, guys. That's some hail that's going to be crossing right over 50 between the Bithlo area and Indian River City. And that hail core, if it holds together, is likely to get into Brevard County, back down towards Port St. John and Sharp. So this is certainly a storm that is going to be bearing some watching here, and for rotation as well. Let me see what radar I have up right now. I've got the Tampa radar. Let me switch over to the Melbourne radar. We'll take a little bit deeper look at this storm, and then I want to get back over to the West Coast because that storm's getting closer to moving on shore. So here is what it looks like now. Take a look at the spin, the velocity. Don't see a lot of spin with it. That's good news. Again, severe thunderstorm warning. If we take outside of the actual warning, and we look at the speed and the motion, I've got it entering sharps at around 213. All right, so it's going to take a while. The storm is not moving excessively fast, but if the hail core holds together, you can see it crossing I-95. So based on this, I'd have it crossing I-95 just before 2 o'clock. And this is a great thing about this system is we can zoom in and we can literally look at each point. We don't have to look at just the individual cities. We can go street by street if we have to, but I've got it crossing I-95 in Brevard County just before 2 o'clock, about 36 minutes from now, based on its present location and its current speed. Jared says, getting dark here in Cocoa, Port St. John, thunder at the distance, wind at 9, gusting to 12. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate that. My son's school bus arrives around 2. Looks like I would pick him up. I would continue to monitor the situation. I mean, obviously, you're going to have the 30-30 rule into effect for a lot of areas for today, even outside of the severe storms. There's going to be a fair light amount of lightning associated with all of this activity, so you know how it is. They're not going to be releasing the kids during those times. I'm going to go over to the next rad product here. This is going to be what we call the composite reflectivity of all of the different radar sites. Because I do just want to mention, people are asking about what's happening up north. The storms right now have cooperated for the most part up in our northern areas, and I'll go ahead and put this into motion for you guys as well. You can kind of see that we did have a stronger storm there just west of Palatka, but it died down quickly. It doesn't mean that we're not going to get heavier rainstorms and maybe even some stronger isolated severe storms up in Levy County, Marion County for today. But the atmosphere is a little bit more raked there, meaning that it's a little bit less unstable. It's a little bit more stable up there, but still with the dynamics that we have in the atmosphere and a lot of energy being kicked out of the Gulf. I mean, if you take a look at this, there's a lot of energy still being produced and kicking on through, which is again a situation and a reason why I do expect us to be having to deal with this for a while. Now, when I bring on the surface map, you can kind of see this triple point here, the occluded front, cold front, warm front coming in, and then you've got that spin right there. That's what it looks like on the radar. Let's take a look on the visible satellite imagery, what that looks like. I haven't even looked at this myself yet either. We'll let that line up. So you can clearly see there is a broad spin here, and then you have some nice strong winds in the mid-levels of the atmosphere. That's why everything's being pushed, and that's beginning to clear out there. But all of that instability is chiming its way on through. So it's going to be an active afternoon, probably into the early evening hours as well. Again, juice in the atmosphere, this front interacting with our sea breezes this time of the year. It's going to be something. Any tornado watches for Pasco County? Good question. At this point in time, there are no watches across our area. Okay, I've been monitoring that from the Storm Prediction Center. This map is actually showing you if there was a watch that would be on there. Warnings right now are popping on your screen. So again, watches are going to be for broader areas over a longer period of time. Warnings are going to be imminent threats, right? So a severe thunderstorm watch means a larger area has the potential for severe storms. A severe thunderstorm warning means that there is an active severe thunderstorm. So at this point in time, no watches, either a tornado or severe thunderstorm. And potentially, we may never have one today. We just might not have the concentration of storms for the Storm Prediction Center to issue that watch. But we'll have to monitor that as well. Good question. Hey, Michael, how you doing? Hey, I appreciate that. And if you guys, first of all, a couple of things about the new version of CFLW, right? There's a lot to show you guys. We can show you our radar system with our cameras. So right now I'll do that because it looks great and I love it. So Winter Park, Sand Lake, Winter Garden, live on your screen as I'm talking about these storms. The other thing is that we're now broadcasting in 4K. I don't know if this face is ready for 4K, but we are 4K. So most of your devices will auto upscale to the higher resolution. But if for some reason you're watching this and it doesn't look like we're in 4K, just check your resolution. Maybe you're still running at 720. You can obviously kick it up to 1080, or if you want to go up to 2160, you can. All right, we are broadcasting in 4K. And we will, of course, have a lot of newer things to show you guys as well. One thing I want to show you here real quick. We do have a new product as well we've been working on. Still going to work on this a little bit because I get squeezed in, but what you're looking at here is going to be, we call it our 6 box. We've got 5 weather cameras, and then any active severe thunderstorm warning is going to be popping up as well. So there's a severe thunderstorm warning for Orange County right now. You'll see that on your screen. So it's just, again, another way to give you guys as much information as we possibly can in one screen. Obviously, the ticker scrolling at the bottom of your screen, and then the weather headlines as well. So a lot of new and improvements as well. One of the other sponsors of the channel is Murphy's Pub. That's the live look from Sand Lake there. Check them out. They're on iDrive. And again, this camera is southern side of Metro Orlando. This is the best shot we have of the sky, but if we were to turn this camera to the left, and we can move this camera, so we'll be spinning it around as necessary, you would be seeing Epic Universe, the new Universal theme park there down on iDrive. Can we expect more weather like this with El Nino? Kish, there's not. So we'll talk more about El Nino coming up. There's not a lot in the way of what's happening today that's going to be El Nino driven. El Nino and its impacts to Central Florida come much later in the summertime, as the subtropical jet is going to be a lot more active for our area. So potentially, it could drive a wetter summer for us here, which would be fantastic, as we have basically across the entire state started off drier than we ever have been for the first 4 months of a year. Good afternoon from Lakeland, Kevin. Hope you're doing well. How much rain for Ocala? Very area dependent. We can take a look at the totals coming up. What I would expect is a lot of areas to get at least 1/4 of an inch. Some areas are likely to get a lot more than that. With the embedded storms, there's going to be a lot more rain associated with it. So good question. Everyone is likely to get something for today, so I'm happy about that. So we still have this special marine warning, and again, the reason why I keep following this is, first of all, any boaters, any fishermen, hopefully are headed back into port. Not a ton of lightning within this right now, just 4 lightning strikes. But if we go back over and take a look again at the velocity product here, there is still a really solid spin, and we can query these numbers too. So let's do that. There we go. So just a quick look. You've got about, we call that gate-to-gate shear, and these pixels are next to each other. You got about 70 mile-an-hour spin, right? It's pretty solid for, a storm that's out there. So again, low levels, we're shooting very low from the Tampa radar into this storm. So that means we likely have a water spout here. And again, at this point in time, we're now within 8 miles of the coast. So Port Richey, Hudson, Bayonet Point areas there, just north of Holiday. So that's a storm to keep an eye on. My radar is also picking up on, let's dump that real quick. All right. That there's some hail associated with this storm as well. All right. So if we take from the hail, this storm moving in, it is still going to be a while because it's moving pretty slowly. It's only moving at around 14 miles an hour out of the east. But now you have an impact towards the coastline around 2:08, about 37 minutes from now. Bayonet Point around 2:21. And again, I'm concerned about this storm just because the rotation has been very solid with it. And there's a special marine warning where water spouts are included within that special marine warning. So we'll be monitoring that situation for you here. Another one farther away right now. There is some spin if you look right here. Decent. It's farther away from the radar, so it's shooting higher up. Most of the time, these water spouts are very low level, so as this one gets closer to the coast, that's another one to watch out for. And they did issue a new severe thunderstorm warning, and this was very, very likely for Brevard County. So let me switch back over to the Melbourne radar. Go back over to our reflectivity mode. See if it wants to cooperate. There it is. Okay. And let me get to the new details on severe thunderstorm warning. I mean, there is a nice hail core here. Nice hail core. It's going to be heading to the beach line and then probably headed towards Sharps and Cocoa and Rockledge. All right. The broad warning is this. Southeast at 13, slowing down. Don't like that either when we're talking about the potential for an isolated tornado. I don't like these storms slowing down. Max hail sides of an inch, winds of 60, Titusville, Port St. John, Lone Cabbage Fish Camp, Christmas, and the Titusville Airport. That is kind of your broad brushed. This is the actual warning from the National Weather Service. Northwest Brevard County, southeast orange until 2:15. Severe thunderstorm warning located over Christmas, moving southeast at 15 miles an hour. And as I mentioned, I think this is going to be very common for these hazards today. 60-mile-an-hour winds, quarter-size hail. Quarter-size hail can cause damage, inch-size hail. So if you do live in the path of this storm and you have the opportunity to get the car inside before it comes, I would suggest doing that. Obviously, you do not want to do that when the storm is over your head, but if you get the heads up in time, then that's what I would suggest. Try and limit the damage of property as much as we possibly can. Excuse me. I really hope the mic off button worked. We've been remapping all of our buttons because I had a little bit something in the old throat there. All right, so we already talked about the areas that will be impacted there. Again, hail damage to vehicles expected, wind damage to roofs, siding, and trees. Let's get the winds on here. Be something to monitor as well. So I'm going to put the wind gusts on. Appreciate all of our moderators in the chat as well. Again, the moderators in the chat, you'll see them in blue. And if you have a question and I've answered it while talking, they can respond to you guys and let you know. Obviously, if you want to send me a super chat, I'll see that and happy to answer the question. By the way, the memberships for the channel are now brand new and they're open. So if you want to support the channel in that way and become a member of CFLW, you can become a member of the channel as well. You get access to custom badges and emojis. And I'm going to be adding this as well. You will get exclusive member shorts. So ahead of a day like today, I would actually record a short video for the members, kind of letting them know my overall thoughts and preparing you guys for the day ahead. Because remember, this is a live only channel. I'm only on when we have impactful weather, which is another reason why I suggest you guys have the notifications on the channel as well. Not going to inundate you with notifications every day. If you see a notification that I'm on, there's probably a reason for you guys to go ahead and tune in. Jared says he's in the bullseye of that storm. All right, Jared. Well, send us pictures and videos too. You know, mymeetingmundo@gmail.com also works as well. As a matter of fact, let me go over here real quick. On the ticker, we'll make this easy because this is the one that I am monitoring right now, and so are the admins. All right, so on the bottom of your screen on that ticker, you'll see the email address. You want to send me a picture or video. Yes, Midnight, I appreciate that. Thanks for taking a quick second, hitting the like button. If you haven't subscribed, thank you for subscribing to the channel as well. Again, we're live only when there's times of severe weather. And if you have been watching the channel, you know that there's a lot of new things that we have brought to the table. And we're really excited about all this. We continue to expand our camera network, right? So we continue to add additional cameras that'll be live across Central Florida. It's not just going to be Orlando. We're adding one very shortly along the East Coast. We're going to be adding others along the East Coast, the Tampa area as well. So, you know, again, that's all in the works. But if you want to sponsor a camera, you want to be a part of that, like the Lean Law Firm sponsoring the Winter Park camera on the left-hand side of your screen, reach out to us and let us know as the channel continues to grow. So again, live look outside Winter Park. We're looking to the east from that camera, Winter Garden, the western side of Orange County, looking to the west. So you can clearly see from the Winter Garden cam just kind of the, the ominous sky out there right now. It's just a really dark gray day in a lot of areas, even outside of where we had some of those stronger storms at this point in time. Over to our quad box of cameras. And again, a couple little interesting features that we can do here for you guys as well. We can zoom in one by one. So again, there's Winter Garden. Not a lot of wind, but the overcast skies. We'll swing on down to Lake Buena Vista. This is going to be, again, 1 mile from the attraction. So just beyond that stand of trees is the Disney property. It's a great camera because we know that any point in time during the day, there's a lot of people out in the attractions area of Orlando. So got to monitor the situation there. And of course, for all the workers for the attractions as well. Lean log cam again from Winter Park, looking off towards the east, and then back out to our full view, including the Sand Lake camera. That again is located over iDrive. Hey Maggie, how you doing? Sky Warner for spotter training. Yep, that's exactly right. So if you want to become a certified spotter, a Skywarn spotter, there is a course to go through the National Weather Service and NOAA, and they'll make you a certified trained spotter, right? And those kinds of reports are relied upon for accurate information. And also, there's a Cocoa Ross too, if you want to have your temperature and your rain measured at your area as well. There's a lot of ways that you can help public safety and information through the National Weather Service and their programs. And all of that information is relayed to me via our weather system as well. But I appreciate you guys. Liked and subbed, although I'm in Fort Myers. I got you, John. I hear you, buddy. I appreciate that. I will say we typically don't go down as far as Fort Myers, except during times of tropical storms and hurricanes. If you guys know, I covered Milton and Helene. And, if there is impactful weather like that, of course, I'm going to be covering it for you guys. Okay, so back over to what's going on now. I told you we're just going to be kind of watching this together. This is a solid hail core. As a matter of fact, let's check out if we can get the hail size on this. This product sometimes works, sometimes it doesn't. It's working now. I like that when the plan comes together. That is nasty hail. Now I want to be clear. This is the algorithm from the Melbourne radar, all right? It could be congested by very heavy rainfall. So sometimes this can be more than what we're actually seeing. But if there is a swath in red of inch-plus size hail, it's a problem, okay? It's a big problem for Brevard County. That's a solid hail. Hey, Maggie, welcome to the Storm Squad. I appreciate that. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Maggie. Newest member of CFLW. I appreciate it, Maggie. Thank you so much for your support. All right, and again, now Maggie will have that badge next to her that says new. She'll have access to custom badges and emojis and the member shorts that I'll be putting together to kind of give you guys a heads up. So thank you, Maggie, for the support of the channel. I appreciate that. Let's get into this thunderstorm a little bit more. I'm just going to take off the warning because it's a little bit easier. Actually, one more thing real quick here. I want to make sure I double check the speed of this. And then we'll get into what I want to do here. Southeast at 15. Okay, fair enough. So away you go. Let's look at this hail core. Port St. John. Be very concerned about this storm coming over your area. It's moving southeast at 15. I'm going to manually track this for you guys. And Maggie sent a gift of a CFLW membership as well. Thank you very much, Maggie. That's awesome. Someone else will get the benefits of a membership thanks to Maggie, so I appreciate that. All right, so let's track this together, guys. Hail core. Nope. Wrong. Let's try it this way. It'll be better anyway. Oh, come on. You guys know that me and this manual tracking thing, we have our beef. It's just got to stay together. There we go. It finally worked. All right, 15. Southeast. Okay. So this is my estimate of where this hail core is going if it's holding together. And it's not great news because it's going to start going over some relatively populated areas of Brevard County. So Port St. John, you can see the street level tracking here for you guys. So the far northeast side of Port St. John might be spared, but central and southwest sides of Port St. John, there is the opportunity that some inch-plus size hail is moving into your area quickly. On the west side of I-95, that is likely to get there in less than 6 minutes. You're almost out of time, but if you do know anyone who lives in Port St. John, I would give them a call. And if they're home, say, look, there's some hail coming your way. You know, if you can get the property inside, protect it. You know what I mean? If you can get the motorcycle inside, if you can get the car inside, whatever you can to cover things up, but you're running out of time to do so. Not a lot of lightning with this storm right now, which is good news. So I'm not expecting a ton of lightning to develop ahead of it, but then it starts to move into the Sharps area. So now the kind of the northwest side of Sharps in about 20 minutes. Right around US 1, and then potentially the northern side of Cocoa and into Merritt Island. So it's going to be close. If it's going to be getting into Merritt Island, it's going to be, 40, 45 minutes away. We're going to have time to monitor that situation. But right now, this hail core is a concern, and this storm has a history of producing at least inch-size hail. And again, we're looking at, on the algorithm here from the National Weather Service radar in Melbourne, maybe even higher than that. Sometimes it's congested with really heavy rain and the number is higher than what we're actually going to see. But all of this red is an inch or higher. That's a pretty large hail swath. Okay, we got a tornado warning now. All right. Yep. Told you guys, this is the one I was really concerned about. Thank you. We'll get back to that in a minute. That storm's concerning, but this one is even more so. All right. Excuse me here real quick, guys. Just trying to reset a couple of things. All right, let's clear the manual storm track. I gotta go here, I think, to get back over to Tampa. Okay, all right. Let's get rid of the special marine warnings and let's get into this storm. All right, so this is important, guys. As expected, based on what we were looking at, there is a tornado warning now. Radar indicated, moving east at 13. Let me give you the details from the National Weather Service out of Ruskin, which services the Tampa Bay area. Tornado warning is now in effect for southwest Pasco County until 2:30. Radar indicating waterspout just offshore 8 miles northwest of Newport Richey, moving east at 10. Radar indicated. All right. This tornado will be near Newport Richey, Hudson, Jasmine Estates, Newport Richey east around 1:45. And again, this is not surprising. This was the storm that I had been talking about over the past half hour or so, probably even longer than that. Let me just double check one more thing here. So southwest Pasco County, tornado warning. All right, so what are the other things we can do with the system here? Apologize for that. Is now we have a tornado warning for Pasco County. All right, so I'm going to keep that up just so everyone knows exactly what we're talking about. Anyone who's tuning in will get the idea of the biggest threat, and that's the tornado warning going on in Pasco County. Let's take a look at it on velocity here. Very clear indeed. This brighter pink, right where this caret is, that's the strongest wind. So the brighter reds into the pinks are your stronger winds going away from the radar red, and then green going towards the radar site. So we have what we call gate-to-gate shear here, and we can query these numbers again. Relatively strong outgoing winds. Relatively strong oncoming winds. Again, this is not, this is not 100, 120 mile an hour gate-to-gate shear. You add those numbers up, by the way, so this is around 77 at this point in time. But for a low-based waterspout, it's still pretty impressive wind at this point in time. So very concerned about this spot. tornado warning is in effect right now, and for very good reason. If, again, all a waterspout is, friends, all a waterspout is a tornado on water. As soon as it moves inland, it becomes a tornado. So again, tornado warning in effect for the next 44 minutes. A couple of areas. No cameras right now out of this area in Tampa. All right, a couple of areas to talk about here. A couple of things. First of all, if you live in this area, you're going to want to take your tornado precautions. Obviously, we don't have any basements here in Florida. You're going to want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, okay? If you are in the path of this tornado, a couple of things you could do. And again, this is not excessive. You could wear a bike helmet. You could get into a closet. You could get into a bathtub. You're going to, again, want to be as interior as you possibly can, and certainly stay away from west-facing windows, because if the strongest wind's going to be coming through, and if it's going to be producing some hail, it's going to be moving in from west to east with these storms, and the likely strongest damage from this is going to be on the west and southwest facing side of structures. So interior sections, but certainly away from west facing windows. All right. So again, tornado warning in effect for Pasco County. It's going to go until 2:30. Waterspout likely to be moving on shore. Let's give you some of the times of arrival here. So again, this is just from the area of concern on my computer, right? So the tornado warning goes farther north and south in Pasco County compared to where our swath is, all right? But the most likely impacted area is where we're talking about right here. So Highway 19, about 215, towards Bayonet Point around 220, getting to the shoreline about 205, about 17 minutes from now. Again, it's not moving quickly. We're around 15 miles an hour, so we're going to have time to monitor this, which is why the tornado warning, was issued for 45 minutes. It's a pretty long tornado warning, slow-moving storm, and we'll see if it holds together as it moves on shore. But this is obviously a very populated area here. 19 is slammed up and down the West Coast these days, anywhere from Citrus County into Pinellas County, especially down here. I mean, there's just so many, populated areas these days. And, obviously on the southern side of this tornado warning is Newport Richey and Port Richey areas. So there's a lot of community, a lot of homes there, a lot of businesses. So populated area for this tornado warning to be going through. On the flip side of this, on the East Coast, again, got to monitor the situation here. With this severe thunderstorm warning, this is going to be a big hail producer coming in right now across I-95 and Port St. John. All right. So again, tornado warning, Pasco County, that's the most significant thing. We also have this severe thunderstorm warning that is currently in effect for portions of Brevard County as well. So Brevard County, you guys are under a severe thunderstorm warning at this point in time for Brevard County. As it moves off to the southeast, again, pretty slow at around 15 miles an hour, 60-mile-an-hour winds, and some inch-sized hail out of that one. But the biggest threat, and the one to continue to monitor here, that will be the bigger story, is the tornado warning in effect for Pasco County. Go over to our quad box of cameras real quickly. Again, at this point in time, Sand Lake, Winter Garden, Winter Park, Lake Buena Vista, all relatively overcast, but somewhat quiet at this time in the Orlando metro area. You have a few storms along the East Coast, and then you have what I think is going to be a pretty active area along the West Coast over the next several hours for us here. All right. Again, you guys have questions, let me know. I'll try and answer them. Our moderators are obviously listening pretty intently to what I'm saying. If I have spelled some information out that you're asking about, they'll reiterate that in the chat. Again, for anyone who knows someone who lives in southwest side of Pasco County, let them know that they are under a tornado warning. Hopefully they have, their weather radars and it's going off, or they have some way to get these alerts. Obviously, if you guys are tuning in, appreciate you taking a quick second, hitting the like button and subscribing if you haven't as of yet. Where I am concerned as we get deeper into the afternoon hours is the areas that have not had the lighter rain and the more overcast skies. And if you notice that the storms are becoming a little bit stronger farther south as well, where we have additional special marine warnings. So An area that is likely to see potential impactful storms over the next couple of hours is going to be the Tampa-St. Pete area. It's going to be Pinellas County. It's going to be the western sides of Hillsborough County. This first storm to emerge on shore is the tornado warning storm in southwest Pasco County, but additional severe storms are likely to continue to propagate off towards the south and to the east. I'm not going to rule out some storms getting a little bit gnarly up north. I mean, right now we have a special weather statement up in the Denellen area for 55-mile-an-hour winds and nickel-sized hail. That's what the 88/100ths of an inch of size is. That's just below severe thunderstorm criteria. So, again, there's a lot of instability in the atmosphere. The cold front coming in, interacting with our sea breezes. It's just one of those days where we're likely to see many areas of potentially severe weather and for a fairly long duration. I have a feeling, again, we're going to get to know each other very well for today, guys. Could be on for quite some time covering these storms for you guys. All right, again, appreciate Maggie becoming a member of the channel, and I appreciate her gifting a membership. If you were gifted the membership, let me know who you are. Again, you'll get access to custom badges and emojis. Was it Jared? Jared, did you get the membership gift from Maggie? That would be awesome, because I see you have the new badge as well. Hey, Ed, how you doing? Not enough rain to mitigate the drought, Ed, but it's not going to hurt, that's for sure. We'll take whatever we can get. We got a long way to go. I believe the number between now and the end of the season to surplus it is like 25 to 30 inches. I mean, we got to start somewhere, right? But, no, this is not going to mitigate the drought overall. Yeah, no doubt, guys. Absolutely stay weather aware. All right, again, so at this point in time, we kind of have two areas to discuss. We have the severe thunderstorm warning with the hail in the northern sides of Brevard County. We have more congested, heavy rain and storms to our north and to our west. Ocala, the Villages, Crystal River, Inglis areas on over towards Hernando County. And then south of there is the stronger activity, including this tornado warning. Now, again, this is for a storm that is still offshore, all right? But it is producing a water spout with some significant rotation, and we're likely to see that storm hold together as it gets closer inland. There's also the likelihood of hail, right? Computers pointing to some hail coming out of this storm. Hopefully not significant in size, less than a ½ inch, but this is a nasty storm that'll be moving into the southwest sides of Pasco County from Hudson, Bayonet Point, and the Port Richey area. Right now, again, the easiest way to track the area of greatest concern is going to be on this velocity product, where we look for these pinks and reds together. All right, it's a very good radar indication of an active rotating storm and a water spout offshore. That's why we have that tornado warning, and it's getting closer. It's getting closer to being inland. So from the leading edge now, we're down to about 2 miles. So this storm will be imminently moving on shore in the next 5 minutes or so, and then we'll see what happens from there, right? It's not the most populated area when it moves on shore, but once it crosses 19 towards Bayonet Point, you can see the street level mapping. There's a lot of homes in this area, as there is up and down the West Coast these days. We'll see here, looking at a couple of different things here. It's our storm relative velocity. I'm just going to do a little bit of analyzing while we're looking at this storm. Pretty good wind shear out of it as well. Might be a little bit broad, but again, it's such a low top storm. Yep, good gate to gate shear. Everything indicates that this is still a storm that's rotating and producing a water spout. See if we got any hail coming out of it based on this as well. Not seeing any hail, at least as of yet. Again, there's an opportunity on the north side of it. And go back over to our velocity product. Okay. Everything checks out. Nothing that stood out either too bad or better. And you can see all the lightning developing here as well. Again, if you live south into Pinellas County, I'd be doing the same thing as our friends up north. I'd just be getting prepared for a very rowdy afternoon. Even if you just get the general thunderstorms and you don't catch the severe weather, these are going to be higher end storms regardless, right? They're going to be producing some very heavy rain, some gusty winds, and a lot of lightning to go along with everything. So got to watch out for that situation. And then obviously the opportunity for some severe storms to go along with it too. So if you're just tuning in, we're kind of bracketing the area at this point in time. We've got a severe thunderstorm with some hail in the northern sides of Brevard County, and we have a tornado warned storm for a water spout that's very close to moving on shore right now into southwest Pasco County. Back over to the East Coast. Let's check out this storm one more time. Again, I don't like what I'm seeing. We mentioned Port St. John. This is flashing with the highest reflectivities you can. This is likely some extremely intense rain and a lot of larger size hail, probably up to a 1/4 inch, if not even larger in size. Again, we can look at a couple of different products here too. If I switch over to this, I'm going to bring up the hail size here. Oops. See if it pops on. Oh, we got to turn on the data first, Rusty. That would be smart. Yeah, that's just a bullseye of really large hail. I mean, it's just the bottom line. Here's the track of the hail over the past 30 minutes. So if you want to see the track of that hail core over the last half hour, here's where it's gone, right? Kind of coming into exactly where we thought it would be. Port St. John, kind of the bullseye for that hail. If we go back in time, 2 hours, the hail began near the Oviedo area and Lake Mary. And you can follow that hail track. This storm has been holding together for hours now, hours. And this is going to be the precip rates out of these storms, okay? So you're looking at not only some very large hail, but you're looking at some blinding rain too. So rainfall rates right now out of this storm is going to be in the 3+ inch per hour total. Now again, it's not going to last for a whole hour, but this is how you do help the drought a little bit, and this is how you can lead to a little bit of flash flooding, right? If you look up north, these storms have pockets of very heavy rain. A lot of it is generally less than that, but the special weather statement area near Denellen also has pockets of 3 inch per hour rainfall totals. And the storms aren't moving extremely fast. I mean, they're moving 15, 20 miles an hour. So Inverness towards Floral City, the eastern side of Citrus County, who has 41, crosses 44 there. Again, more than 4 inches per hour there. And then you have obviously what's going to be a lot of water coming out of this storm as well. But you get the idea that there's going to be some pockets of pretty heavy rain that comes along with everything too. So I'll be monitoring that for you guys. All right. Let's get back to our tornado warned storm. Is Zephyr Hills under any threat? Are we in the Pasco County, I think? So Zephyr Hills is farther inland. Right, you are in Pasco County, but you're in southeast Pasco County. This is for the immediate coast, so you're nowhere near the tornado warning right now. First of all, the tornado warning, it's a small area, so it's not going to encompass an entire county. Now, the interesting thing about this, I want to be clear, this is one of the great things about coming on and watching live rather than maybe just getting your information from the weather radio is because they're still breaking it down by counties for the most part. So the tornado warning is going off for Pasco County, which Dade City and Zephyr Hills and Land O'Lakes would be included in the county, but the polygon, which is what matters the most, is for a much more limited area. So, that's why the Weather Service a long time ago started going to these polygon warnings because they knew that, the warning for the county just really wasn't cutting it anymore. You could be well away from the actual, impactful part of that storm. Switch over to the velocity product again. We're getting close to this storm beginning to move on shore. Check the time of arrival one more time. Still on track, so about 5 minutes from coming inland. The worst part of that storm, about 15 minutes across US 19. And again, bayonet point in about 20 minutes. Time of arrival about 2:21 with this tornado warning storm. Again, this is a water spout, an indicated water spout on radar. And all water spout is a Tornado that's over water, as soon as it comes inland, if it holds together, it is a tornado. And we've seen that many times. There's nothing that generally stops that from happening. You do have the friction difference of water and land, which can sometimes interrupt that circulation, and other times it can enhance that circulation. Updated tornado warning for Hudson to Jasmine Estates. All right. Yep, they did expand it a little bit farther east, indeed. Let's get you the information on that. Let me dump this off the radar. So, yep, a couple of minutes ago, we had an update to this tornado warning. Let's get into it. Tornado warning remains in effect until 2:30 for west central Pasco County. 1:58, a radar indicated waterspout just offshore located near Jasmine Estates. That's going to be right along the coast, or near Hudson, moving east at 15. Flying debris will be dangerous to those caught without shelter. Mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, vehicles will occur, and tree damage is likely. Hudson, Jasmine Estates around 2:05. Bayonet Point after that as well. So there you go. Now again, you know, they're mentioning Hudson, and Hudson needs to certainly be aware. It does look like the rotation has come up the coast just a little bit, right? That rotation is now basically parallel with Bayonet Point, when about 5-10 minutes ago it was a little bit off towards the south. I can loop this, and we can look at this together real quick. Let's take a look at the rotation. Yeah, it's definitely coming a little bit north. Absolutely. And you can see the polygon change from the Weather Service office in Ruskin. They have lifted it north. So there's the loop over the last half hour. And there's your tornado warned storm. Yep, this does look like it's more directly headed towards Hudson now. Hey, Edward, how you doing, Sebring? Good to see you. Okay, T. Pillsbury. Jasmine Estates, just south of Jasmine Boulevard, about 1.5 miles inland from 19. Lights just dimmed a bit. Keep me updated, please. If you know anyone who lives in Hudson, let them know. Let them know a potential storm that is currently producing a waterspout and may be producing a tornado as it moves inland is occurring as we speak, and they are under a tornado warning. I hope they're getting that warning right now. We talked about how this is going to be impacting schools and dismissals. Obviously, with something like this, is a shelter-in-place situation. So hopefully everyone is doing so. You want to stay away from the west-facing windows. You want to put as many walls between you and the outside as possible. We don't have basements in Florida, so you're not going below ground, but you can protect yourself by just getting away from exterior walls if you want to take the extra precaution. And it is a good one. Put on a bike helmet. If you got an old football helmet, throw that on. You just want to protect your head more than anything. If you want to wear some goggles just in case there's some flying glass. Again, I know this might sound extreme, but in a time of a tornado warning, you know, with an active storm like this, those kinds of situations can occur. And if you want to maybe get into an interior closet or lay down in a bathtub, again, none of that is an extra, extraordinarily high of a precaution at this point in time. If you're under this tornado warning, especially in Hudson, these are the kind of preparations that you do want to take. Certainly, if nothing else, you just stay away from the exterior walls, because flying debris with these storms can be coming in, and that can really cause some problems. Put on shoes, absolutely. You know, breaking glass, you want to have some sturdy shoes on, so good sneakers as well. You know, it's so funny, I'm from Florida, and then I worked 7 years in Oklahoma, and we did tornado warnings all the time, but my messaging to you is much different than what we did in Oklahoma, because most of the time it was just get down below in your storm shelter, we'll let you know when it rolls over your home. Don't have that opportunity here in Florida. We don't have the basement, so we got to deal with this above ground. But we also don't see the larger EF4 and EF5s that they get in the plains as well. All right, so let me go back out to the broad perspective. Let's check back in. That storm's going to be the big story. Again, tornado warning for Pasco County. This is a nasty storm. The hail here in the Port St. John area is going to be damaging. Likely to be inch-plus size hail moving off towards the east. Let's get you a track on that real quick, if I can for you. No, I don't want that. All right. I'll reset it here in a second. But anyway, the bottom line is, sharps. We'll do a manual track real quick. Not a fan of what I'm seeing here, though, that's for sure. Yeah, I'd put sharps about 10 minutes from now, and then Merritt Island about 20, based on the speed. I'm going to back over to this tornado warning. We are out of the Tampa radar. That is good. Let's dump the special marine warnings. And let's swing back over to velocity here. Let's check how far we are from inland areas. So now it's kind of coming up this way. So now, because it's not going due east, we're a little bit farther away from the coast, but still about 4 miles, so not very long. The tornado warning itself goes until 2:30 now. Storm motion again is pretty slow, east at around 13. And again, this is all radar indicated, but anyone who lives along the coastline, fishermen, obviously want to be in a safe port of call at this point in time. Water spouts are nothing to play around with, man. And this one has been very prominent the last 45 minutes or so, with a very tight couplet, tight rotation. Let's take a look at there's any other spin here. This is another storm that I'm concerned about right now, right? Lot of, let me clear that off, a lot of lightning with this storm. That's a good indication as well. Now, it's much further away from the coast. It's about 30 miles offshore. We got some time to monitor that one. But if there's another storm that we're going to have to watch as it moves on shore, it's that one. A lot of lightning, so deep convection, low levels of the atmosphere. Not a great combination. Orlando's good right now. Hey, Miami, how you doing? Hey, Sebring, good to see you. Hey, Hudson, how are you, man? All right. Go out to the broad perspective one more time real quick. Let's check in on our radar network, our camera network, excuse me. So again, keeping the tornado warning on the screen, because I just want anyone who's tuning in right now to be aware of what is happening right now. Tornado warning, Pasco County. Camera network shows you again, not much change in the Orlando metro area for the most part here as we push into the 2 o'clock hour. Sand Lake is down towards I Drive in the new Epic Universe area. Gray, overcast, but at this point in time, no impactful weather. The Winter Garden camera on the right-hand side of your screen, that one's going to be interesting to continue to monitor the situation, because that camera is looking off towards the west, and you can see the darker gray towards the horizon. And as the storms begin to fire up and move inland, that's a camera that will be watching that line of storms march in, even as far north as the Citrus County area, Marion County, and then east across the rest of the entire area. Lake Buena Vista, of course, this is going to be towards the attractions area. At this point in time, again, same situation. We're okay at the attractions. No lightning to speak of at this point, but that's a situation that could change at any point in time. And then I'll also show you guys, of course, the Sand Lake camera. So I'm going to come on to this screen right now. Going to continue to monitor those cameras. Going to take a look at what's going on for you guys here. Also, please remember that the Lean Law Firm is one of our sponsors. We appreciate the Lean Law Firm being a sponsor. So is Murphy's Pub. We appreciate both of our sponsors of the channel. All right, back over to this tornado warning. Goes for the next 20 minutes. Hey, Lakeland, how you doing? Is Palm Harbor affected? I think Palm Harbor is south. So far, yes. So no, Palm Harbor not affected, right? Southwest Pasco County, Palm Harbor is in Pinellas County. However, that storm I'm concerned about down the road. That's the one to monitor here. It looks like it has the same signature and setup as this tornado warned storm right now. So eventually later this afternoon, we're going to have to keep a closer eye farther south along the coast, including Pinellas counties and maybe even down the road, Manatee and Sarasota counties as well. All right, so again, this tornado warning, tracking it in. Now, that's a little bit too far away. Let's go back over to our velocity product. So it does look like the actual rotation is coming on shore right now. All right. So whatever spin that we have indicated by the pinks, which is the high winds of the radar going away, red is away, green is towards. So you have winds going in different directions, very close to each other. We call that a couplet or gate-to-gate shear. It's an indication of a likely tornado. Again, water spout offshore, tornado inland. Latest update from the live radar, putting that circulation kind of on the southwest side of Hudson. So we have about 45-mile-an-hour winds going outbound. We have 20 to 30-mile-an-hour winds coming inbound. Now, if we're lucky, as it moves on shore, the friction difference between the smooth waters offshore and obviously land interaction could interrupt that circulation and break it apart a little bit. But there are other times where just that change in friction allows there to continue to be more rotation. So that's why they have the tornado warning. Obviously, if you guys live in this area, please make sure that you are taking all your tornado precautions at this point in time. Tornado warning continues right now until 2:30. Mainly for the Hudson area, Bayonet Point is included in this, but it does look like the rotation has gone a little bit farther north. All those pinks now are right in the Hudson area, beginning to cross over 19. If nothing else, by the way, if nothing else, this storm is going to be producing some winds of 60 miles an hour, right? So even if the low-level circulation breaks apart a little bit and we don't have any concentrated damage, there's likely to be some 60-plus mile-an-hour winds out of this. Torrential rainfall. I want to be clear about something as well. You're likely to not to see this circulation from any distance. It's one of the other big problems that we have here in Florida. A lot of folks try and go out and see this storm. We are under what's called high precipitation supercells, and so you just don't have a clear base to see this, or the base is so low to the horizon, unlike the low precipitation storms out in the plains where they're really high based, right? And you can really see that funnel. You don't get that in Florida. You have low bases to all of this stuff, and it's really hard to see from a distance. So you're likely to not even see this rotation, or if you do, it'll be on top of you before you know it. North Tampa should be preparing for a bad storm. Yes, down the road. Jared says, Port St. John just picked up under a half inch of rain in the last 10 minutes. No hail yet. You got it. Okay, Midnight says, my wife works for the Pasco School Board. Gulf Middle School is being evacuated. Okay. And Midnight, where exactly is Gulf? I grew up in Crystal River. We used to play golf and some sports, but I honestly forget exactly what town. I don't know if that's Hudson or not. There is a very large soccer complex in Hudson that I have played many a games when I played on league teams. So I would take US 19 down to Hudson a lot. Going right over the Bayonet Point Hospital. Hey, Detroit, how are you? Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. While you're down here, thanks for liking, thanks for subscribing. I'm not going to tell you guys to do that a lot. Obviously, we're in the time of a very significant situation here, but I do appreciate the support, appreciate the new members of the channel as well. So again, we're going to be counting down in real time all of the active warnings. So the special weather system marine warning is going to go away, replaced by this tornado warning, because now the area of concern, the tornadic potential part of this storm, is on shore, right? It does look like the circulation is slightly broader, but this is still a really dangerous situation at this point in time. Certainly at any point, there might be some confirmation of something happening in this area, and so we'll be monitoring that together. One more time, if you're just tuning in, to give you guys the update on this. Tornado warning remains in effect until 2:30, so we got 15 more minutes on the warning, right? Water spout, as of the time of this, which is now inland, right? Water spout's just a tornado on water. That's going to be moving towards the Hudson area. The one thing that we saw with the radar signature is that the circulation was moving north of east. So it was kind of south of Bayonet Point offshore, but it has moved north and east, and so the polygon from the Weather Service office out of the Tampa Bay area has shifted it north as well. So they're monitoring this, and if they need to do another update, they'll do another update. Expires in 14 minutes. Again, this storm is gnarly off of the Pinellas County line. A lot of lightning with that one. A lot of wind. All that green. I tell you what, if nothing else, right now that is pushing a lot of wind out of that storm. So that one's going to be one to watch as well. And then back out to the big perspective, again, we've had a couple of other storms get a little bit rowdier along this line that's beginning to build up right now. Denellen continues with their special weather statement. These storms getting out of Citrus County and coming into northern Sumter County, including my friends in the Villages and Wildwood and the Lake Pan areas, Coleman. This has the opportunity to produce some hail as well. That is what the triangle that you see on the screen is. So with this storm, half-inch size hail, a 50% probability, storm moving off to the east at 17. When you see the reds, you see the pinks, higher reflectivity, heavier rain. Look, good beneficial rain. We just don't want the severe weather to come along with it. Some of these spots are likely to pick up a quick half-inch to maybe of an inch of rain. It's not out of the question that we see some localized flooding, but it's not the biggest concern. The biggest concern today is the opportunity for severe weather, and those hazards are at the bottom of the screen. Yeah, the Villages, again, a good question. Weather going downhill. No special weather statement, no severe thunderstorm warning. But if we have our friends out there playing tennis, golf, pickleball, Villages, I hope you guys are inside. Weather deteriorating, good lightning back down towards 75 and the Turnpike interchange just south of the Villages at this point in time. This storm has fallen apart a little bit over Merritt Island, thankfully, thank goodness. Again, hopefully the hail was confined to portions of Port St. John and has died out across the water over Merritt Island. So this cell does look like it came down relatively quickly in intensity. That's great news. Additional storms are up in the coastal areas of Flagler County. That's a nasty cell just off of the Flagler Beach, Beverly Beach areas. So you get the idea that, again, we're going to be seeing a pretty large-scale severe weather potential for today. It's going to be area-wide. All modes of severe weather, including the opportunity for some rotating storms. You know, we're heading the 2 o'clock hour right now. We're getting closer to schools being let out, and we're getting closer to some of that being impacted by some of this activity, right? Obviously, 30-30 rule in effect, and just, you know, getting these kids home might be a little bit slower on the buses, and travel, the commute home from work could all be impacted by these storms, because this is a very large-scale event, guys. We've got, you know, a lot of deep instability in the Gulf with our fronts in combination with our sea breeze interactions, and that's what's producing all the storms that we see right now. North of Spring Hill, okay. Let's get back out here. I'm gonna go full screen again here, guys. Yeah, and within this line, you know, we're going to have to watch out for, again, other rotating storms, right? You know, you got a little spin right here, right? All up and down this line. Here's another little spin right there, all embedded within this. Typically, these behave. Typically, they behave, but they don't necessarily have to. One can get squirrely. You can see that. There's that storm west of Wildwood and Coleman and Lake Pan, just south of the Villages. Down 41. So whatever circulation, whatever this storm is causing potential damage-wise or whatever impacts it's bringing is right over the Hudson area right now, right? So again, the tornado warning continues. The Weather Service has not dropped the tornado warning, so they still feel like there is a threat with this storm of a tornado being produced. I don't see any reason to disagree with that. It's getting a little bit more congested within some heavier rain, but again, a really low base to this rotation. So potentially even from this shot from the Weather Service office in Tampa, we couldn't see it. I do have access to the Tampa terminal Doppler. We can always take a look at the storm here. All the major airports have their own radars, which I can access. Nothing that stands out anymore, but you can still see, and again, this would be closer to the storm, shooting lower into the storm. We still see the brighter greens. You see some of the reds here right over Hudson. So again, tornado warning continues there for the next 9 minutes. The storm moving off towards the east at around 13. All radar indicated at this point in time. And if you guys do see any storm reports, let me know. I'll be monitoring it on this end as well, but obviously I'm doing a lot of things at once. So if there's any confirmation, just get back with me. I'm going to check the storm reports right now. So let's see what we got here with the wind. So 1 o'clock we had a 40 at the Cape. Earlier today we had the inch-size hail in Oviedo, but now far enough in the past where it's not showing up anymore. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, this is a broad area of severe weather for today. All of the green, which includes all of Central Florida, under the marginal risk for severe storms. All modes of severe weather are possible for today. These storms are likely to produce very heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning, to go along with some storms up to 60-mile-an-hour winds, maybe even higher. Inch-plus size hail, that's damaging hail in a couple of spots, and even some isolated tornadoes. So we continue, as you can see on the bottom of your screen, with the tornado warning right now for Pasco County. Go back over to the Ruskin radar here. You notice that these storms are beginning to pick up in intensity in northern Sumter County. A little bit of a bow there by that, and what I mean is we're likely to see a little bit of wind being picked up by that as well, getting a little bit fresher. So these winds are likely going to get stronger. Villages, Leesburg, Lake Pan in the next half hour. So I'll be monitoring some of those gusts. Minnesota about 4 miles from the rotation, heavily rain wrapped, can't see any of the rotation, and you wouldn't. Yep, it's just the nature of the storms here in Florida. So low based, high precipitation, supercells and thunderstorms. You don't have good visibility. You have to kind of be on top of it, and you don't want to be on top of it, right? You just hope that it passes away from your area, or hope that it's not materializing, because you're just not going to be able to visualize it for the most part. If you don't, it's going to be very quickly on top of you. In Webster, in my fifth wheel travel, any concerns? Good question, right? Mobile homes are concerns. At this point in time for Webster, no, right? Webster is in Sumter County. I'll find it here in a second. Where are we here? It's Webster. Oh, there it is. Yeah, not overtly concerned right now. Look, I mean, in a time of a potential tornado, you don't want to be in a fifth wheel, you don't want to be in a mobile home, but it's very hard when, we don't have a tornado watch in effect, and so we're not talking about a larger area, to really sit here and say, look, I think you need to be evacuating that area. That's probably a little bit overboard right now, but it is a situation I'll be monitoring. Now, certainly, if you have a chance to leave those areas, if you are under a tornado warning, that's always advised, right? But for Webster right now, it's more generalized showers and storms. But this is a day that all of us are going to want to stay weather aware. It's why I came on as early as I did. It's why I think we're going to be on for a while here, just watching as this kind of slowly meanders across the area. And there's going to be some embedded intense storms out of all of this too. Hey, Marilyn, good afternoon to you. Again, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for hitting the like button for me. Thanks for subscribing if you haven't to the channel as of yet. Anyone with any information out of the Hudson area, let us know. That is where we have our tornado warning. Now, they have just reissued the tornado warning, so this is not good. And that circulation is moving north. So now we have a new tornado warning, and this is going to sneak into southern Hernando County. All right, so I'm going to go back over to the reflectivity. Jump in here, and let's get the new details on this. So tornado warning until 3 o'clock. Says it's still moving east. And that might be the individual cell, but the whole polygon is much more north and east right now. Radar indicated. All right, now let's get you the details. I'm going to zoom out a little bit so we can all kind of get an idea of where we're talking about here. All right, just issued new tornado warning, northwest Pasco, now southwest Hernando, till 3. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. Now, I want to be very clear about this. What this means is they have no ground report of an actual tornado. Radar indicated. Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado. It's good wording, but this is still a very dangerous storm, all right? Severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado located over Hudson, moving east at 15, all right? Flying debris will be dangerous. Those without shelter, mobile homes will be damaged or destroyed. Damage to roofs, windows, and vehicles will occur. Tree damage is likely. This storm is going to be near Spring Hill, Hudson, Timber Pines, around 2:30, around right now. Other locations include Shady Hills and Bayonet Point. So let's track it together. Now, the interesting thing is that, at least in my system, from the area of greatest concern, which is just north of Hudson, we actually don't get into any larger areas for the path of this, at least right now, right? You do get into a little bit more rural areas of northern sides of Pasco County, far southern and southwestern sides of Hernando County, but we're still getting close enough to 19. So if this does stay into southwest Hernando County, rather than moving east, notice again, the radar algorithm wants to pull it more east, but the polygon is much farther north. So we can't just sit here and say, look, these areas outside of this swath will not be impacted. We have to take what the Weather Service is telling us and understand that the potential impact area is a broader perspective, and obviously street level mapping. You can see here in southwest Hernando County, northwest sides of Pasco County, it is very heavily populated right now. So if you're just tuning in, new tornado warning here for that. And again, a situation where we're likely to continue to have some problems. Give me one second here, guys. Okay, I'll take that down. Just testing one thing real quick. Okay. All right. Okay. This is going to be interesting. My preview monitor has gone away. So I'll be doing things on the fly. All right. Who said live streaming was ever going to be easy? That's okay. We're still live. We're still streaming. You guys can still hear me, I'm assuming. It's just my preview monitor is frozen on me. But that's all right. I was just testing it. So if I want to bring up the double box of clouds, there we go. All right. Winter Park, Winter Garden. Again, Winter Garden, that's going to be a camera to be monitoring for the next couple of hours, because those storms that are along the west coast, they're going to be headed deeper into the I-4 area. What's the anticipated trajectory for Orange County? Well, again, these storms, so there's a touchdown. Hang on a second. Let me get back here. I have not heard. Tyler said in Hudson, wind picking up, the sky is almost black. Yeah, I want to get to some of your comments here too real quick. Let me get back to this. Yeah, look, the bottom line is, guys, in this area, Hudson on over towards portions of southwest Hernando County, you got to be weather aware. You got to be taking this thing extremely seriously. You know, they reissued the tornado warning, so they are still very concerned about the potential being a tornado being produced out of the storm along US 19. Again, very low visibility within this. It's going to be very hard to see the actual rotation area. So the polygon is going to be a lot larger than the actual area of concern. But, you know, generally speaking, the storm is tracking up to the north and to the east right now. And there's going to be a lot of wind, right? So even if there's not a tornado being produced, the wind damage out of this storm is likely to be there, 60-mile-an-hour winds or even higher in some spots. Alfred says getting dark in Brevard County. I have no confirmed reports of the tornado actually on the ground. Let's be clear about that for now. If there was, they would pop up here in our storm reports. Repo Leprechaun says Hudson getting slammed with at least intense rain and wind. Yeah, that's just looking at the storm reports, guys. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. So out ahead of this line, they have now issued a special weather statement. 50s, quarter-size hail, right? A lot of Citrus County, the Villages, Wildwood, places like that. So the storms are intensifying out ahead of our tornadic storm, our tornado warning storm, which could also be producing some dime-sized hail as well. Alfred has quarter-sized hail in Brevard County, okay? Where are you there, by the way, Alfred? Because they do not have a warning anymore on that storm. Storm looked like it died out. Was that earlier in the day, or was that a little bit, or was that recently? So in addition to this storm, again, the one that's going to be moving into Pinellas County is of concern. Anywhere south of where we've had the clouds today and the thunderstorm activity is going to be an area that I'm going to be monitoring. If I loop this up, this is a loop over the last 2 hours of the composite radar. There's still a lot of juice in the atmosphere out here. There's a broad area of low pressure spinning in the northeastern Gulf. Again, you've kind of got this trough line here. You've got the front. You've got our sea breeze interaction. You've got old boundaries from the last couple of days. It all comes together to produce a very highly unstable atmosphere where all modes of severe weather are possible for today across the entire state. The opportunity where storms can get gnarly as they come offshore, inland, and then the same situation as they move east across our area and on towards the East Coast. Again, earlier today, you're going to see this storm fire up here. That was the hail producer with all of the lightning through Seminole and Orange counties, which has dissipated in Brevard County. Now we look off towards the west, and the main show is coming. That storm is kind of out by itself. It was a rogue storm, if you will, all out by itself. But now the main show with a lot more energy. Look at all the lightning, by the way, as well. And I even have some of the lightning tampered down because remember, we talked about, if you've tuned into various streams that I've done, if I take off the filter to the lightning, there's so many lightning strikes within the core of these storms, we wouldn't even be able to see the radar. So this is a filtered lightning count, but there are still hundreds of lightning strikes in just the past 15 minutes within this view. Yeah, so again, kind of rehashing the general look of what's going on right now. We have scattered showers and storms along the East Coast, no severe thunderstorm watches, warnings, or even special weather statements. In the Orlando area, as we're pushing past 2:30, we have some light rain beginning to billow up, a couple of moderate areas of rain. So we'll be watching those cameras very closely, but okay so far in the metro Orlando area. However, of course, all of this activity that's to the west is going to be moving east with time. So from Marion County and Citrus County, it has been stormy lately. We have this special weather statement that's in effect right now. Let's get you the details on that. It's a large area. Special weather statement, strong thunderstorm impacting Citrus, Sumter, Central Hernando through 3:15. We got a storm and a line from the Santos area to Wildwood and North Brooksville, moving northeast at 40. Land spouts just basically spinning lower levels of the storms, not on the ground. Winds to 50 and pea-sized hail. Now that could still produce some very strong winds, this land spout categorization, okay? So you could still have some wind damage coming out of that. And again, 50s and Ps. The hail size isn't of a concern for the most part, but the winds knocking down some tree limbs and some power outages and maybe minor damage to some roofs. The bigger story, of course, continues our tornado warning. It's going to go into effect and through the 3 o'clock hour. This is going to be for the northwest sides of Pasco and the southwest side of Hernando County. If you're just tuning in again, we've been monitoring a storm here that was producing a water spout off of the coastal areas of Pasco County. Once it moved inland, they fired up a tornado warning for that. It included Hudson, and that is where the storm is located right now as it moves north into the east. So again, till 3 o'clock. East at 15, although the actual polygon from the Weather Service office is certainly more north than east. Please, if you live in this area, be very cautious of it. Take the tornado precautions, put as many walls between you and the outside as possible, okay? Stay away from west-facing windows. Those are the ones that would get blown out first. You want to get into an interior closet. You want to get into a bathtub. You're not overdoing it, right? Tornado warned storm. You want to be very safe. Let the area of concern pass you by. This is moving across US 19 as we speak, and it could potentially move into the southwest sides of Hernando County. So some of the areas that could be impacted, they're mentioning Spring Hill, Hudson, Timber Pines, and then Shady Hills and Bayonet Point as well. Though Bayonet Point is on the far south side of where this polygon is. Maggie says thunder just starting to pour here in Wesley Chapel. Yeah, I've been to Wesley Chapel a couple of times. Beautiful area. Thank you for that. No doubt we need the rain. See, Matt says, jumped in the car 10 minutes from Spring Hill, most likely rain wrapped, boots on the ground. Keep you posted. Thank you very much. You guys see the email address scrolling at the bottom of your screen. You want to send me a picture or a video from your area, please do so. We'll be monitoring that. Now, again, storms on the southern flank. We talked about this during this live stream. So the southern flank has not been as impacted by overcast skies and rain today. So temperatures there are warmer and there's a little bit more instability. These are your current temperatures right now. So Hillsborough and into Polk counties, temperatures are still well into the 80s. So now you have a new special weather statement in Polk City beginning to fire up along that boundary with a little bit more juice in the atmosphere down there. A little bit more sunshine today, just a little bit, and a little bit warmer conditions. Again, temperatures here have been able to reach the mid, even a couple of upper 80s in a couple of spots. So just real quick for this one, east at 20, 50-mile-an-hour winds are going to be the main threat. Lakeland, Davenport, Polk City, Gibsonia, and the Loftman areas included northern sides of Polk County. So if you live in Metro Orlando, you get the idea that things are beginning to close in. As these storms are propagating from west to east, and still the most significant weather off towards our east. But look, the storms here that are producing the tornado warnings, it's just 75 degrees in Spring Hill right now. It's not like we got a 92-degree afternoon. It's not the environment that you got to have this heat energy as the main catalyst. There's deep layered shear in the atmosphere with the combination of the front and our sea breeze. You have surface mechanisms, you have mid-level mechanisms to fire up the storms, to have the rotation within these storms. So it is just one of those days that, when I looked at it last night, I said, I think I'm going to be on for a while. I think we're going to have a few storms that are not going to cooperate here, and unfortunately that's going to be the case. But I'm with you guys. I appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for liking the live stream. Thank you for subscribing if you haven't. Again, this is a live-only channel. I'm only on where there's impactful weather across Central Florida. It's one reason why I suggest that you guys do have your notifications on. I'm not going to inundate you with daily forecast videos or anything like that. I'm going to check out here as we're talking what is available to me. I've got, fortunately, what looks like to be somewhat limited, some of the things I can show you here, but that's okay. We'll get through it. So we have the 6 box, right? And that severe thunderstorm warning for Brevard County is gone. So let me take that off of the screen. I don't know if I'm going to be able to be honest. Might not be able to use that unless we can get that to work again. Let's see here. Working through it with you guys. All right, let's just dump that off like that. I think that's the easiest thing to do. Do not want to reset this because I'm afraid the stream will end. Still have access to these cameras, and we can still go camera by camera like this. So this is how we're going to do it. We'll work our way through this. So again, live look to Winter Garden, western side of Orange County. Just off to the west here, you're going to probably start to see that sky really get dark. Let me tell you something again. Hopefully we can get the kids home from school in the Orange County, Orlando metro area, including Seminole County, Kissimmee, St. Cloud areas before these storms arrive, especially down in Celebration, Kissimmee. It's going to be tight. That special weather statement in northern Polk County is marching your way, but that is the live look right now there. We'll swing down to Lake Buena Vista. This is the live look there at the attractions area, Lake Buena Vista. Again, always an area of concern because we always know people are out and about keeping an eye on the attractions and enjoying things there. And then Winter Park. This is the lean log cam out of Winter Park. You can see just the movement of the clouds. You can see that at the lower levels. There's a lot of turbulence, and this camera is far, far away from some of the actual big problems here. So again, situation where, you know, we're going to have to really closely monitor as these storms move in. The quad box will allow us to, or the 6 box will allow us to see some of the other cameras that I've mentioned. Again, Conway and Sand Lake pops on with this. Be monitoring those fresh winds in Conway. So again, even outside of where the thunderstorms have really gotten going, that is going to be a problem. Large hail in Florida this time of the year, it can happen. Absolutely. We've already had reports of inch-size hail. Look, you don't have to have the 2 and 3 inch size hail to cause, you know, damage to property. You can get that, you know, with inch-plus size hail, and that was already reported today in the Oviedo area as you get into the northern sides of the Orlando metro area in Seminole County. All right, so back over to our tornado warned storm. It continues for the next 18 minutes. Let's check out the velocity product one more time. Still see some rotation, right? And my system's right on it. Right where that caret is where the most intense part of that cell is, where the strongest rotation is. So let's track that out from there. Again, at this point in time, not likely to, you know, going over some communities, but no larger areas, potentially trying to get towards 41 in about 38, 40 minutes, something like that. Again, no ground truth report yet of any actual tornado on the ground. Big difference. Hopefully that continues to be the case, although the tornado warning continues as well. First rumble of thunder in Ormond Beach. What about Volusia County, like Deltona, Osteen? Everyone's all in it, guys. I mean, you know, we've got a long day ahead. If you're not seeing active weather now, there is certainly a good potential for you to get active weather later in the day. Now, that might just come in the form of some heavy rain and gusty winds and some frequent lightning, and all the storms behave in your area. But then there are going to be some other areas where the storms are going to get rowdy, right? And they're going to produce severe thunderstorm warnings or special weather statements, or God forbid, a tornado warning like we have right now in Pasco and southwest sides of Hillsborough County. The storm also of interest south of there is getting closer to being on shore. So let me switch back over to our main product here. Get on full screen with you guys. And just to reiterate that this storm that is getting closer to places like Palm Harbor and Dunedin and Clearwater and Largo, Bel Air, Indian Rocks Beach is a nasty storm. There's a lot of lightning associated with it. If we take a look at the velocity, the spin in the atmosphere here, it does look to be broader, more elongated, but still the potential for some rotation here, all right? Now, if we look at the special weather statement that accompanies this storm, the hazards include waterspouts. Waterspouts, wind gusts of 34 knots or greater, so 40 miles an hour, and some smaller size hail. It says waterspouts can quickly form, capsize boats, damage vessels, create sudden higher waves. The bottom line is that you want to be in port right now in the offshore waters and even the nearshore waters of Pinellas County, right? Even into the bays. You want to be getting back into the docks. This is a nasty storm, ton of lightning associated with it, maybe even some smaller size hail. That's what that is showing. You know, small hail, but a relatively good probability of hail that'll be moving into coastal Pinellas County. So my thought with this, right, we talked about the fact that I expected there to be a tornado warning with the storm moving into Pasco County. With this one at this point in time, I think at the very minimum, it's going to be a severe thunderstorm warning for Pinellas County when the most intense part of that storm begins to get closer to inland areas. There certainly is some rotation within this storm. So is it out of the question that they fire up a tornado warning? No, it's not out of the question. A little bit broader rotation than the tight couplet I saw offshore Pasco County with this one, but there is still a lot of gnarly weather going along here, and there's a lot more lightning. I mean, this is gonna hit coastal Pinellas County hard, real hard. Appreciate it, Kyle. Again, hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for tuning in. Lien Law is one of the sponsors of the channel. They're your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. If you do get hail damage, they can walk you through every step of the insurance claim process. Check them out by going to lienonmelaw.com. That's the website. Check out Bobby Lean and Murphy's Pub as well. We appreciate both of our sponsors. If you want to be a sponsor of the channel, you want to sponsor a camera, all you got to do is reach out to us, mymediamundo@gmail.com. We have another email address as well, cflwlive@gmail.com. All of that information you can find on the homepage of the YouTube channel. Appreciate the support. Appreciate the new members of the channel as well. Memberships are now open to the channel. You get access to custom badges and emojis, and I'm adding on exclusive member shorts. So a day like today, if I think there's going to be impactful weather and I'm going to be on later in the day, I'm going to record a quick video, a short, and upload that to our members so you guys can kind of get first blush as to what I'm thinking about the day, when I think I might be on, and the impacts that are expected. So if you want to become a member of the channel, like Maggie was today, she also gifted a membership. I believe Jared was the one who got that gifted membership. Please feel free to do so. Again, appreciate the support that way. Appreciate all the other ways you guys can support us. A very simple way to support the channel: hit the like button, subscribe. Both of those things do more for the channel than you guys think, right? YouTube thinks that, hey, these people like it enough to watch it, to like and subscribe. We're going to recommend this channel to even other folks who don't know it exists. So I'm going to throw the radar into motion to give you guys an idea of the movement of the storms. And it's not very prolific right now off towards the east. The weather is going downhill. Eastern Citrus County, northern Sumter, northwest sides of Lake County, maybe even into far southern Marion County. So the Bellevue area, Villages, Wildwood, Lake Pan, crossing 75. The Turnpike 75 interchange is always a disaster. I don't care what time of the day it is, but when you add on blinding rain and a lot of lightning crossing 44 at this point in time towards 301, it's going to be even worse. So please take your time. The roads are going to be wet. You're going out trying to pick up the kids at this point in time. Again, you know, the weather going downhill. Storms are firing up right along the coast. Look at that storm that just went poof, just east of Flagler Beach, offshore, but it could be hugging the coastline. I mean, you never know. Could this thing kind of spin back in the northern sides of Volusia County? Keep an eye on it. It's certainly not going far offshore right now, for sure. The light to moderate rain is overspreading Lake County. Redevelopment of some rain right now in Seminole County, southwest sides of Volusia County. More rain trying to get back into Orange County. There's your special weather statement with the storm that has developed into the northern sides of Polk County, beginning to get a little bit more lightning out of that one just north of Polk City. And this storm could try and make a run to places like Celebration in the southwest sides of Orange County as well. If we track that one, so for my friends in southwest Orange County, let's get the detail on the speed of that. East at 20, okay. Is it going to behave this time? All right. Manual tracking might not be behaving today. Well, I guess not. All right. We'll do a full track on that thing then. To get out of storm cell tracking mode here. Yeah, northeast at only 7. North at 7, really slow moving. I mean, if it does sneak into Southwest Orange County, it's going to be a long time out from now. By the way, what I've done now is I've switched into a mode where the individual more significant cells are going to show up on your screen, and their path is going to be in this track that you see here, the individual cells. So it just kind of gives you an overall idea when I zoom out to the broader perspective, exactly how these storms are traveling right now. As another idea, if I just take off the radar, you get the idea of the movement. Now, the interesting thing about this is there's a little bit more north push to some of the individual cells. Everything's trying to sink south a little bit with the front and the energy in the northeast Gulf, but the individual cells are trying to move a little bit north of east at this point in time. So could get back into some northern areas here. Throw the radar back on. How are we doing so far? You got it, Renee, and I appreciate you tuning in. Thank you for the kind words. I haven't heard any power outage reports yet, but if you guys know of any, please let me know. I am only one man. I'm manning the fort, as they say, and I'll continue to monitor for any storm reports here. Okay, so here's a storm report. Out of Bayonet Point in the Hudson area. Let's check that one. So we had a 54-mile-an-hour wind at the Pasco Hudson Beach Park. So there you go. 54-mile-an-hour wind, Hudson Beach. So it gives you an idea that as the storm moved inland that produced the tornado warning, that it was carrying with it some severe thunderstorm kind of winds. Hey Sharon, how you doing? Appreciate you becoming a member of the Storm Squad. The memberships here at CFLW. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Sharon. Thank you very much. And I hope you're doing well. No confirmed tornadoes on the ground yet, guys. No confirmed tornadoes yet. Hopefully it stays that way. All right. I want to go back over to our camera network here. Still monitoring that tornado warning. Go back quad box here. Again, the lean law cam is the Winter Park camera on the bottom left-hand side of your screen. Thanks for the hearts, guys. I appreciate that. You got it, Repo Leprechaun. Thank you for covering the Great Tampa area, keeping folks aware. You're doing the Lord's work. I appreciate that. Well, it is my home area. I am from Crystal River. Most of my family actually lives in the Tampa area. My dad was born in Bradenton. So I know this area very, very, very well. Know the East Coast very well. It's in me, as they say. It's in my DNA. Thank you, Renee, for doing that as well. Is Deltona going to get smacked later? Well, it's hard to say who's going to get smacked, guys. I've been trying to be very overt in saying, look, we're all in the opportunity for some of the active weather for today, right? There's the potential that as these storms march east from where they are right now, that they're going to pick back up in intensity. So absolutely, Deltona could be smacked, or we could just see some stronger storms and some gusty winds and some lightning. Not everyone is obviously going to get into the most prominent of the weather, but what I'm concerned about most of is that the opportunity exists for virtually all of Central Florida. This is a day, being very clear and honest with you guys, this is a day where I can't sit here and go, this area is definitely going to get the most intense weather and the northeast areas are going to get the least intense. I do expect there to be a general gradient of the intense weather, weaker north, stronger south, weaker inland, stronger west coast, potentially redeveloping and getting stronger again along the east coast. When you look at the outlines from the Storm Prediction Center in regards to the individual threats today of tornadic activity, hail, and wind, they're more prominent along the east coast. But so far today, we've had the most active weather along the west coast, right? And part of that is just the fact that, they're seeing the storms first as the energy is coming in from the Gulf. And they're the spots that have had the worst weather so far. But potentially down the road, picks up even more along the east coast. Again, this is a long day. We're going to be here for a while. I think we're likely to see the potential for some form of severe weather through at least the late afternoon, if not the early evening, right? And especially again as these storms are coming inland too. So back over to the tornado warning. If nothing else, it has gotten a little bit weaker overall. The reflectivity looks a little bit more broad as far as I don't really see any core high reflectivity anymore. The winds have looked to gotten a little bit broader as well. I don't see that tight couplet any longer. This is a good sign. I like the trends, right? I like the trend that we're 4 minutes from the expiration, and the Weather Service office in Tampa has not reissued the tornado warning deeper into southern sides of Hernando County, maybe north central sides of Pasco. Doesn't mean they won't. I want to be clear about that. But typically, if they're going to continue a tornado warning, they're going to want to fire up the new polygon at least a few minutes in advance before the old one expires. Okay? So let's hope that that's the last tornado warning associated with that individual cell. Now farther south in Pinellas County, that's a rowdy storm if nothing else. It's a lot of wind, some hail, some heavy rain and lightning all moving on shore, southern sides of Pasco, but mainly northern Pinellas County, Tarpon Springs, Palm Harbor, Dunedin, Clearwater areas. I want to continue to check out the winds as well. So if there's been a wind gust in your area that has been reported by one of the local, what we call METAR sites, they'll pop up. And they're in the major cities, okay? So no, there's not one in Hudson, but we had the report of the 54-mile-an-hour wind along the beach. That's why it's always important to get the public information as well. I mean, there's only so many sensors, and they're mainly in the larger cities. So if you have these storms coming inland and some of the more rural areas, information from the automated sites is not going to help you as much. Hey Jay, how are you, my friend? Appreciate you becoming a member as well of the Storm Squad. Easy for me to say. Welcome aboard. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Jay. Appreciate Jay becoming a member of the channel. Again, memberships are brand new to the channel. We just opened those up. If you want to become a member, you get access to custom badges and emojis and exclusive member shorts. When there's times of potential severe weather, I will make some exclusive short videos for our members and send those to you guys so you can kind of get aware of the weather even before I come on live. Appreciate you guys tuning in and hitting the like button and subscribing. Those are the easiest ways to support the channel, and I do appreciate all of that as well. In Hudson, there was a touchdown around 2:05. Hudson by county line, okay? All right. I'll see if I can verify that, but thank you for the information. You know, if nothing else, it could have been a very brief touchdown, right? Comes down or was there, produced some intense damage, but to a very small area and then lifted very quickly. I do expect them to allow that warning to expire right now. The rotation within that storm looks much broader, which is all good news. So hopefully in a minute, as we hit 2:30, we're not going to have another tornado. We're not going to have a tornado warning currently active in Central Florida. And then we'll talk about kind of the other setup. Those storms along the Flagler County coast are very interesting. I mean, that puppy is hovering a mile or two offshore. And if it were to kind of back build along the coast, Katie barred the door for some extremely large hail. That's not a fun storm just offshore from Flagler Beach. Palm Coast, a little bit too far north, you're looking okay. Again, this special weather statement for the next 15 minutes till 2:45. Special weather statement, broad area. Weather Service just thinks that embedded within this cell across 75, from the villages all the way back down towards southern sides of Sumter County, we could have some areas of 50-mile-an-hour winds and some quarter-inch size hail. If I take a look at this data for you guys, we'll go over here to precip rates. Again, you want to talk about where the rain is quite heavy right now. Rainfall rates within this cell are 3-4 inches an hour, okay? Not going to last for an hour. You're not going to get 4 inches there, But that is some blinding rain about ready to pass 75 up to the Turnpike interchange. So here comes the Turnpike, that's 91, okay? Interchanges there, and then 44 runs west to east from Citrus County and into the Wildwood Villages area. And then, of course, you got 301 that runs north and south. But this is always a congested area, and when you put blinding rain on top of that, always concerned about what could be happening out of that area. A lot of lightning to go along with it too. Within this cell near Polk City, you've got a couple of inches of per hour there. The green triangle shows you the opportunity for some hail embedded within that storm. The rain is picking up in intensity from Land O'Lakes, just west of Dade City and Zephyr Hills. Big pockets of heavy rain there. All right, 3-inch per hour rainfall rates there. Tornado warning was allowed to expire, no longer on the board. Great news. Doesn't mean, though, that from Bayonet Point to Hudson and into the far southwest sides of Hernando County, you're not going to have some really heavy rain, a lot of lightning. Again, we could use the rain as long as we don't get any flash flooding. We don't want to see that. Monitoring the situation there. And then heavy rain just beginning to work its way inland in the northern side of Pinellas County. Special marine warnings still. They have not fired up. They have not fired up a severe thunderstorm warning for Pinellas County yet. We'll see if they do. Something we've got to keep an eye on. Port St. Lucie is good for now, yes. Yeah, appreciate you guys tuning in. Thanks for being a part of the chat as well. Look, you guys are passing along some vital information, and I appreciate that. Great to interact with those folks as well. We have the moderators in the chat. You'll see those names in blue, and they'll have a blue shield. They are going to be kind of, running the show, if you will, in the chat. They'll try and answer questions for you guys. If they've heard a piece of information I passed along and someone asks a question and I don't get to it right away, they will let you guys know. They'll answer it for you and kind of just give you the, the running tally of what's happening across the area. So appreciate the moderators of the channel coming in and helping things out to make things run very smoothly for us here. So at this point in time, it's about as calm as it's been in a few hours. Right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings, no tornado warnings, okay? Still a very active rest of the afternoon and evening hours ahead. So now that I have a second, I want to kind of go back and talk about the general setup for what we might expect the remainder of the day. Again, if you're just tuning in, all of our area is under a risk for severe storms for today. Technically, it's a 1 out of 5 on the scale from the Storm Prediction Center. It's the dark green. It's called marginal, okay? So 1 out of 5. Part of that is basically how much severe weather is expected in this area. It hasn't been prominent enough for them to issue watches. There's not a tornado watch. There's not a severe thunderstorm watch, okay? Watches are larger areas for longer durations. It's the potential for certain forms of severe weather possible. If they think tornadoes are possible, they'll issue a tornado watch. If they think just stronger thunderstorms, 60-mile-an-hour winds, inch-size hail, that'll be a severe thunderstorm watch. Then the individual cells prompt your warnings. But there are no watches that are currently in effect. Looking at the local storm reports, it does look like we have the tornado report in right now. So here you go. So roof damage reported by Pasco County Dispatch in the possible tornado. So there is the confirmed report, and I appreciate my friends in the chat letting me know. I told you the information would come in. So 2:37, we were tracking it live for you here on CFLW. This tornado, which likely touched down in portions of the southern side of Hudson, 1 mile south-southwest of the city center. Again, emergency management reporting roof damage by the Pasco County Dispatch, to go along with a few reports of destructive winds. 54-mile-an-hour wind at the Pasco Hudson Beach Park, and then on the north side of Hudson, a 45-mile-an-hour wind reported by the Mesonet site up there. So obviously, Hudson was impacted by this tornadic supercell. We hope that everyone is okay. We can repair structures. That's great. Hopefully it was very isolated, but it gives you an idea of why I'm on and why I was concerned about today for the opportunity for the tornadic cells and the generalized thunderstorm risk. Now, when we look at this from the Storm Prediction Center, Believe it or not, the West Coast isn't even another technical 2% ring for tornadoes. It's actually I-4 East. So this is why I'm still concerned later in the day of storms re-energizing and redeveloping as they get back towards I-95. I'm still just as concerned out west for some of the storms to spin up, produce water spouts offshore, have the rotation continue at least near coastal areas. So have to monitor that. Let's see if there's any mesoscale discussions. I'm kind of looking at this in real time. This would be, if I saw a product here, this would be the Storm Prediction Center saying, hey, we're monitoring this, we're monitoring that. Don't see any of those products. Again, excessive rainfall is still highest as a probability along the East Coast. Okay, rainfall totals today could be anywhere from 1/4 of an inch to several inches of rain, but no overt wide-scale flash flooding is likely in our area. Let's go over to the visible satellite imagery. And while I do that, I'm always going to keep an eye on things. There are no tornado warnings, no severe thunderstorm warnings across the entire country right now, if you can believe that. We've got the most active weather in the entire country at this point in time. Probably our time though, right? We have been pretty benign weather here lately. So to break down the remainder of the day, you have a broad area of low pressure in the Northeast Gulf, located here. We have our frontal boundary. Look, it's May. This ain't your December, January cold front, but there's enough of a temperature moisture difference north-south side of the front, lift in the atmosphere, and our localized sea breeze interactions. All this is coming together to put some really deep layer shear or twist with the winds into the environment, and just a lot of instability, all right? So it's not going to take one overt mechanism today to fire off these storms. Inherently in the atmosphere, we are in store for what could be a very active rest of the afternoon and early evening. We got to get this whole system to push off to the south, and that is not likely to happen anytime soon. I can show you the HRRR model here real quickly. I'm pretty sure it has updated. I'm going to switch over. So this is going to be our high resolution rapid refresh model. It does update hourly. In situations like this, it is my go-to model as we watch these storms progress in real time. That's not what I wanted to do. Let's see what the HRRR model has for us here for the rest of the day. And I think you get the idea of when you watch the model go until 11 o'clock that multiple rounds of additional, at least strong storms are likely. Potentially clearing out first out west and holding on to the storms a little bit deeper into the evening hours along the I-95 corridor. So I don't think we're done across I-95. I think we're likely to get back into some stronger storms again coming up later in the day, maybe quieting down a little bit earlier in Tampa, St. Pete, but still some really nasty storms are possible there, at least for the next little bit. Okay. So back out here. Let's go back out to this box, not that one. See if I can do this. There we go. Again, without my preview monitor, it gets interesting. All right, so we'll do this 3-in-1 box for you guys. On the left-hand side of your screen, 3 of our live cameras, Winter Park, Sand Lake, Winter Garden. And then I'll be driving the radar from here. Now you're getting into kind of the sloppy part of this whole system today, where the Weather Service offices are going to be firing up some very large, wide special weather statements, all right? Just below severe weather criteria, especially with the wind. The hail, not as much. Remember, severe thunderstorm warnings only have 2 criteria. You either have to have 60-mile-per-hour winds or higher, or inch-size hail or larger. Those are the only 2 criteria. The rain, the lightning intensity, the flooding potential, none of that matters. If a storm is lower than that 60 and 1 inch criteria, they can issue what's called a special weather statement, kind of one rung below the severe thunderstorm warning. For this particular one, it's for 50-mile-an-hour winds and some quarter-size hail. Let's get you the information on that one. Racing east, 60 miles an hour. All right, so land spouts possible, right? Rotating storms is basically what that means, capable of still producing some wind damage. We've got, and again, this is the big, actually, this is the big broad one all the way down here. So this is this one here. It includes Tampa, Spring Hill, Clearwater, Largo, Temple Terrace, Newport Richey, Zephyr Hills, Brooksville, Inverness, Wildwood, Dade City, Bushnell, Hudson, Holiday. Is it Lutz or Lutz? That is just one I always forget. Homosassa Springs, St. Leo, Wekiwachi, Palm Harbor, and Newport Richey East. So this is the very large yellow polygon, 50-mile-an-hour winds. The north polygon is moving east at 40 for 50-mile-an-hour winds. Includes Brooksville, Inverness, Wildwood, Bushnell, Beverly Hills, the Inverness Airport, all of Inverness, Highlands of Inverness, if there's Highlands in Inverness, Brooksville, Hernando, Sugar Mill Woods, Lake Pan, Ridge Manor, Center Hill, Webster. So some of Citrus County, some of northeast Hernando, Sumter, far western sides of the lake. Lutz. Okay, thank you. I thought so. You're holding those O's. Lutz. Wildwood, just on the northern side of things. Special weather statement, heavy rain. I'm sure it's pretty intense right now. Could even be a little bit of hail just moving east of 75 right now. That's that green triangle that you guys see. Leesburg, Yalhalla would be included in that, northern Lake County. So the weather beginning to kind of enclose, Orlando at this point in time. We're still okay right now. Try and get the kids home from school before the worst weather comes in. Back down here, they've now extended the marine warnings to include the bays. So Hillsborough and Tampa Bays are going to be included in this. Clearwater Beach, the Gandy, Howard Franklin, Madeira Beach, Egmont. Basically, all of the coastal areas of Tampa Bay are going to be included in this, all the way down towards the Bradenton, Anna Maria Island area as well. Skyway included in this. May not be fun there. This is the most intense part of the cell here. Dunedin, Palm Harbor, Clearwater across 60. Tampa Airport's going to get smacked pretty good. But again, no severe thunderstorm warning at least. So if we take a look at this, so again, the southern flank is trying to pull a little bit south of east. The individual cells are trying to go north. This is much more of a squall line of storms down here rather than individual cells. If we take out the special marine layer, weather would be easier to see. So some of the active weather here will be Clearwater now, Palm Harbor now, Largo at about 5 minutes, Pinellas Park 3:30, Town and Country 3:32, Carrollwood, St. Pete 3:37, Egypt Lake and the Lido area 3:40, the downtown Tampa area 3:45. The Bucks have training right now. Get them inside. Brandon around 4:02. Brevard going to get hammered? Could be. Lutz, got it. Never forget it again. Thank you, Terry. I appreciate that. And thank you, Envino. Thank you very much for that kind word as well. So again, thanks to Jay and Sharon and Maggie for becoming new members of the channel. I appreciate that. All right. We do need the rain badly, guys. Look, I am right there with you. It's not as if this is going to be completely non-beneficial. We're going to have some beneficial rain. We have generally started off this year drier than any other year in history on an average in Florida over the first 4 months. We desperately need the rain. Hate when it comes with severe weather potential, but that's what's happening at this point in time, with these individual cells coming in. Now, overall, I'll be monitoring that trend the remainder of the afternoon hours for us here, but I do expect the intensity to potentially ramp back up again. I don't think we're done with the severe thunderstorm warnings today. Hopefully we're done with tornado warnings. But as these storms continue to move into an environment that's still fairly favorable, east and south of where they are right now, additional strong to severe storms are likely. And you just have really broad areas of very active conditions at this point in time. So they've allowed the northern part of that special weather statement to expire. So we still have one, though. I mean, look, this special weather statement includes Pinellas, northern Hillsborough, all of Pasco, all of Hernando, some of Citrus, and most of Sumter counties. I mean, it's huge mileage-wise. Anywhere within this, 50-mile-an-hour winds. Hopefully no hail, though. No hail being put on the board from there. Going back over to the winds right now. What I'm not seeing is a lot of really strong wind outside of the thunderstorms. Let's keep that at bay. So St. Pete, just a 20-mile-an-hour wind. Lakeland around a 20-mile-an-hour wind. This special weather statement has been allowed to expire up in Polk City for now. Let's track this part of the cell. And again, generally speaking, the most intense part are trying to make a run north compared to moving due east or southeast, especially if you're kind of away from the southern flank, which is building south. So for this special weather statement, some of the areas that will be impacted are Spring Hill right now, my friends in Brooksville, 320, Floral City, that's eastern, southeastern Citrus County. It's going to be 328, Lake Pan, Sumter County, 340, Wildwood, 345. The Villages, again, going to get run under by another storm around 350, Fruitland Park, and Leesburg, 352, and then Lady Lake, 353, Bassville Park, 359. So now you're eking into northwest Lake County there. Yep, there's a lot of bad weather still off the coast, Maggie. There's no doubt about it. We got a long way to go overall. Still a lot of good, strong, discrete storms here. This storm here is just a really interesting one. I mean, it's a nasty, nasty storm. That has to stay offshore. We do not want that storm back building into coastal Volusia County. It's relatively unpopulated relatively across A1A in southern Flagler County, but you get towards Ormond Beach again and Holly Hill and Wilbur by the Sea and Daytona, it would not be fun to have that hail core get back on shore. So if you live deeper into Hillsborough County, maybe even Manatee and Sarasota counties, again, these storms are trying to work your way into the area. Got to give it a couple of hours here. That's what I would expect timing-wise there. Hopefully, the storms cooperate in our northern areas, Levy, Citrus, portions of Marion County. I'm going to go back over to our composite radar here. Let's get the broad perspective and get a little bit of a loop going for the last couple of hours. Let me bring back on the timeline for you guys too. All right, so let's loop this up over the last 2 hours. What have been the trends? Severe thunderstorm warning, Brevard County died out as it hit Indian, Banana Rivers. Severe thunderstorm became a tornado warning into Pasco County, southwest Hernando County. Report of a tornado touchdown in Hudson. That has now gone away and been replaced by a special weather statement. Additional stronger storms are likely into Tampa, St. Pete as well. And then all of these storms are generally marching east. Some of them are moving a little bit north and east. Others are building off towards the south. A lot of energy still in the northeast Gulf to fire off additional storms, especially in areas that have not already had the stronger storms where the atmosphere is raked and skies are overcast. Where you have temperatures that are a little bit warmer at the hour. These are the areas that are likely to have a little bit better chance for the stronger or severe storms later. Just a little bit more heat energy out by themselves. Temperatures now in Ocala 72. It's a little bit rain cooled there, but even even MCO now 79. That can still support some stronger storms and portions of Polk and the northern sides of Hillsborough County. Look at Lake Placid, okay? Yeah, I appreciate that, Renee. Thank you. Yeah, look, I mean, the rain is going to be great if we can get the rain without the severe weather. That would be what we need and what we want. Now, going back over to our cameras to keep an eye out on those for you guys. We'll go to Winter Garden. Again, this camera is looking west from the western side of Orange County. This is going to be the camera that's going to be showing you those storms coming inland from Sumter and portions of Citrus and Hernando and Pasco counties. So we'll be monitoring that one for you guys as we go through the day. On over to our camera, if it cooperates. Let's see here. Oh, there we go. Here's our Sand Lake cam. That one popped up unexpectedly. Murphy's Pub, Sand Lake. There you go. The overcast skies there. And again, situation that I expect to be pretty, persistent here across the area is going to be those overcast conditions, in that region. And a situation where more than likely we're going to continue to see the opportunity for some stronger storms redeveloping a little bit later into the day as well. All right. So here's what I think we're going to do, guys. I need to reset a couple of things on my stream. As you can see, we're kind of stuck on this right now. It's a great time to do all of this because I do think there's going to be some stronger storms coming back in later in the day. Probably a nice little time for us to all catch our breaths for a second now that we don't have any severe thunderstorms in the area. That would be good. So I'm going to end this live stream now. I'm going to monitor the situation, and there's a very high likelihood I'm going to be back on sooner than later, right? The storms are going to be moving into Orlando metro area. We're going to have some problems for the afternoon drive home. The storms could be rowdier along the East Coast, and even the redevelopment of some stronger storms in portions of the Tampa-St. Pete area. But this is a nice little respite to give me a chance to kind of reset some things, get ready to go for the remainder of the day. So as I leave right now, I appreciate you guys taking a quick second, hitting that like button for me, and subscribing to the channel if you haven't as of yet. Thank you to all the moderators and the new members of the channel. Again, just a quick short break. Make sure that you have your notifications on, so when I go on live again, you will be able to see that that new stream has started. Again, thanks for hitting the like button on the way out, and I'll see you guys shortly. We'll pick back up this stream coming up here with more additional severe weather likely in Central Florida as we get deeper into the afternoon hours. Until I see you next time, friends, in just a little bit, take care. I'll see you soon.